Here's why, if you're not already in love with brand and culture, here's why you need to be as an entrepreneur, as a leader. This is business, but this also is in relationships. This is also in your own home. It's a big deal because it's the thing that gives you the most leverage out of any other part of business. Building trust and demonstrating expertise. This is week 3 of 4, going through building trust and demonstrating expertise. This is really important. Brand comes up, culture comes up when we're talking about these topics. Here's why, if you're not already in love with brand and culture, here's why you need to be as an entrepreneur, as a leader. This is business, but this also is in relationships. This is also in your own home. It's a big deal because it's the thing that gives you the most leverage out of any other part of business. It's the thing where it goes out there and it's just good when it's done right. It goes well and people can't help but share it and talk about it, and it grows exponentially and you get that leverage. But let's talk about specifically the top 5 strategies as it pertains to business that work really well in this area. One is attend live events. I put this one first because I'm not saying you have to speak on stage at the event. I'm not saying you have to be a vendor at the event. You just got to go to it. Like, just get in the room. Proximity. How many know proximity is key? It's super powerful. Proximity is powerful. Speak on stages does come next, right? You kind of get the lay of the land specifically your market. And you're like, all right, this is the stage that I now need to be on, and other. I don't just need to see everyone; they need to see me in this area. And we've continued to identify some of those stages. We'll share some examples with you today. Next one is guest on podcasts in the comfort of your own home. You can just jump on someone else's podcast and they can distribute to their audience. I know you guys are familiar with this. Some of them are in person. So maybe you travel, or maybe there's a lot of local studios here in Vegas. This can be really powerful content, and OPA, other people's audience, to grow. So we'll cover that one. The next one is industry leading Facebook groups. We've talked through the group method here, but do you have right now, listening and watching to this, whether it's live or the replay, what is the list of the top 5, or if you're really pro, top 20 industry leading Facebook groups in your niche? And if you don't have that list, like an Excel or Google Doc or Notes app, with this list, then I promise you, your team does not know who they are either. And if nobody in your business knows this, you're missing out on so much revenue and wasting so much time talking to people that aren't as qualified. So this is a very valuable list. We'll go into that. And then, of course, nurturing them in DMs. All right, so these are the 5 that we're going to talk about today. And we're going to start with a big problem with all of them, though. Okay, these are great. Those are great directions to go. But here's the problem. It takes time. All of them take time. Oh, but Chris. Oh, but Chris. Listen. If anybody out there finds a way to build culture, brand, trust, authority that costs no time and no money, call me up immediately. Make sure I'm the first person you call. I don't think this unicorn exists. And that's okay. And that's the way it should be, right? But it does take time. What we want to do is spend it in the right areas. We're going to cover that today. Frustration. Yeah, like learning new things, going places, travel, logistics, putting together new presentations, all the things. Sometimes you feel like this guy, and maybe the most expensive thing of the year is all the laptops you had to buy because you punched too many of them. I don't know. Like, if that's you, then this will be a good presentation. All right. So here's my promise. You'll go from feeling unsure, insecure, to victorious, feeling awesome, on top of the world, because you'll be able to identify how to do all of these. You'll identify how to do the best one out of the 5 for you at this time, and be able to approach it in a way that's not overwhelming at all. That's the promise. You'll feel like when you go in these environments, you have something to give. Your voice matters. You're solving a problem that's important, and people will respond. They'll stop what they're doing. They'll look at you. They'll listen to you. They'll write. They'll like, wait, hold on. I want to take notes. I want to try to catch what you're giving. That's how you'll feel when you approach these top five in a great way. And brand and culture is going and growing the right direction. Okay, so that's the promise. Here's the five strategies: events, stages, podcast, Facebook group, and DMs. Let's start with events. We'll share a recent example 2 weeks ago. Maybe if you've been hanging out with us every week, you know, we're talking through this. What are the leading events in your industry? You know how easy this is? If you're SaaS, go to Google, go to ChatGPT, type in, you know, SaaS events. Could be that simple. Software as a service events. Chris, I'm in marketing. Best marketing events of 2023. Best marketing events of 2024. You can type in these simple searches, insert your industry, insert, you know, last year or this year, and then type add events at the end. Then grab the towel, wipe off the sweat off your brow after all the hard work, right? You can get the information on the marketing side. What I'm sure events coming to mind, you know, obviously, you know, funnel hacking live, and there's traffic and conversion. I think traffic and conversion. There's social media. Dang it, I can't remember the full name of it. It's in San Diego every year, the beginning of the year. I think it's just about to happen, or it just happened recently. You'll find the ecosystem, and all the leaders are going there. So it saves so much time. All right, here's an example. SaaS Academy for us. You can see Dan Martell off to the right. He is the founder of SaaS Academy, and the whole ecosystem. And so when we went there, there's almost 250 other SaaS founders. Oh my goodness. If you care about, you know, what they need, what they're thinking about, and how to serve them, it takes 2 days. What might have taken you a year or 2 years of like figuring out your ideal customer takes like 2 days or less, because you get such a high potency. It's like every freaking, you know, hour you're like connecting and meeting with new people in the industry, and you're like, oh, this is what they're doing, this is how they're solving it, here's where they're getting stuck. It's like drinking from a fire hose. So cool. So this is just simply attending events. So your takeaway would be this: what one event are you going to this year? If the answer is none, go Google it and find the one that's, I don't know, closest to you, or the one that's most exciting to go to, and, you know, book the ticket, book the flight. All right. Next one, stages. Hey, check out this guy. He's standing on a stage. This is Sean, be in front of a giant LCD screen, and share the value. He's like, so, you know, FlowChat, right? We talk about sales processes and communication and you know, getting attention. It's like, well, you can call people, you can like just give them the options. Talk about value in this area. Here's why DMs on paper, numbers wise, are something that we devoted attention to. We follow the numbers. They beat all the other numbers. Do you want to either you're first or you're last? And we wanted to be first. So this is why we incorporate it into our sales process, and we're sharing our findings with others along the way. So Sean got to do this in front of hundreds of people virtually and live all at the same time. And stages, deliver great content. I know it's like, okay, brilliant, Chris. Like, you know, I was really wanting before this presentation, I really want to deliver crappy content. But Chris, you now have inspired me. You've shown me the way of great content. How do you do that is the question. If you're having daily conversations or even weekly conversations, and you're fielding calls, like field 100, we did over 1,000 in the first 7 months, personally, one-on-one Zoom calls. But I don't know, do 100, take a month, take a couple months, do at least 100 face-to-face conversations with your ICP, your ideal customer profile. You know what they want, and just compile the top 2, maybe the top 3 greatest pain points they have, and keep providing, create frameworks, like, you know, one-pager PDF framework of how to approach or think about or solve the problem. Write this down. Anyone listening, watching, write this down. There's 3 ways to provide value. Number one is material value. Number two is emotional value. And number three is spiritual value. You can do one, two, or all of these in any of your content. Material value is obviously things. It's money, it's trips, it's products, it's material value, right? You increase the standard of someone's living that way. Emotional value, it's relationships, connections, it's in that bucket, right? Spiritual value isn't necessarily religious. Spiritual value can be unity. It can be bringing people together, time, money, people, resources together. There could be a greater vision. There is a great verse that says, hey, where there's a lack of vision, people perish. Vision brings energy and epiphany and revelation to any direction, or project that's being built. In fact, without it, nothing grows. So spiritual value, bringing people together, vision is insanely powerful. And in your content, you can talk through those things. Those are examples of great content. Build authority with pictures and video. When you're doing this, hey, you're there anyway. Can you just like hand your phone to somebody in the front row? Like, hey, can you at least just take a picture of me? That's probably like easiest thing to do, right? But if you can have someone film you and take additional pictures, obviously there's more value. And when you're taking the time to do this on stage, have a clear next step, have a clear call to action. One thing. What is the one thing that you want them to do next? Maybe you just want their email so you can, or for them to, follow you on Instagram, or, opt in so you have their phone number so you can text or call them. You can communicate beyond that event where they just met you. All right, let's go to the third one, podcasts. What are the top 3 strategic podcasts for you? Do you have and the simple question is, do you have this list? And oh, well, I know what they are. Great. Is it written down? Have you talked about it in an all hands meeting, in a leadership huddle? Do other people on your team know? Why does that matter, Chris? Well, when your team is out talking to other people, and out in the world, you want them. Listen, we what we ask for, what we focus on is what grows and what we get. And so when we're focused and aware of the right things, it just happens so naturally. So here's an example. You can see this is High Levels YouTube channel, and there's yours truly, Sean and Chris, hanging out on the podcast for High Level. So we're spotted a trend. Hey, a lot of the agency owners that are using High Level also do great and really like FlowChat. We should, build more of a relationship with High Level. And so we have. And that relationship's going to continue to grow in 2024. So guess, for our top 3 podcasts and stages to speak on, guess who's on that list? High Level. Another great one was 10-Minute Entrepreneur. And Sean's been on, I don't know, 100 other ones, a lot of them. So not just, so you don't want to go on just any podcast. There's a million podcasts or shows or publications. Guys, it's do yourself a favor. If there's one thing that you do, whether it's all of these or one of these, just like check this out. If you can see my little face in the little square, open up, if you got Apple, great. Go to the purple podcast app, okay? And when you open the app, this is your new best friend. You can go to on the very bottom, it says browse. It says browse on the very bottom. That's your new best friend. And when you're browsing, you can browse by category, right? News and noteworthy, top shows, top episodes. That's cool. But you can get into all the different categories. Another way to do it is you can hit the search bar and go to all podcasts. You can go to business. You can go to fashion. You can go to e-com. You can go to marketing. And you can see all the top ranked, most popular podcasts. There you go. Your homework's done. The market has already compiled the list for you. And when we did this, guess what was on there? 10-Minute Entrepreneur. Oh, we should probably go on that one. And when we did, guess what? Oh, hey, I started getting more emails. Hey, saw you, heard your podcast on 10 Minute Entrepreneur is really great. Love to have you on mine. Hey, will you publish a story on our thing? So it like when you do that, here's what you get. Here's what you get for investing that 2 to 5 minutes and actually doing that work. While it might feel like 100 pounds, here's what you get when you make the investment. You will do a fraction of the work and you will get an explosion of the right feedback and the right attention coming towards you. It's completely worth it. Okay. The credible one, I wish I would have done it more like this. I just, oh, podcast. Okay. Like, yeah, we can book a few. Okay, let's do the thing. And then you're doing the thing and you're in the interviews and you're just saying the same things over and over. And like, not much is coming from it or not nearly as much as you want. If you've ever felt those things or had those thoughts or ideas, we stumbled across some of the better ones, I'm like, what am I even doing? Like, why didn't I just take 5 minutes and just go, I only want to be on like these 10 podcasts. And if they're open, great. Then, and if not, then we'll talk again tomorrow until they say yes. So, all right. The credible ones that have your ideal customer profiles listening to them, those are the ones that you want to be on. Have a clear next step. Bring them value. Hey, for everyone listening here, appreciate you, Jim, for having me, come present to your audience. Here's a free gift. They're the scripts that we use to close over $3 million in over 2 years. I hope that this just serves your audience. They can make more money as just a thank you for listening and spending time with us. Done. That could be the clear next step. Now everyone's going to go get their value and you're going to get their information and you can continue the relationship that you started building with them through this curated method. All right. This is one of the additional publications I was referring to. Starterstory.com. If you guys know Pat Wells, he started it years ago and they're crushing. They've got over 4,000 different entrepreneurs and stories in here. And now FlowChat is a part of that process. We were asked to be on here. We posted this not even 2 weeks ago. There's already over 2,100 ideal other founders that have now learned about FlowChat. This is a big deal, guys. Like we're on one thing and then now the right opportunities are coming towards us and we're just posting and then more of the right people are coming towards us. Right? So it's leveraged activity. Hopefully someone's hearing me today. Top 5 strategies. Thanks for thumbs up, Ingalls. Let's go. And that's the sweatshirt you're wearing is Sean's favorite sweatshirt too, by the way. Yeah. Facebook group. All right, for Facebook group, here's our Facebook group. As you are probably well familiar with at this point. Hey, look, our group is awesome because you guys are all in it. And it's also not massive. It's 6,100 people. We started with 0, 2.5 years ago or so. It doesn't have to be massive, guys. There's 2 aspects to this. You're starting one if you haven't already, or you're, obviously making that list of the other ones that you just want to be a part of and serve in. Okay. But here's the deal. If you have one of the Facebook groups that is an industry leader in your industry, you have just created a stage for yourself. Now our Facebook group, when we're talking to other founders, entrepreneurs, hey, 98% or more of our audience are all B2B agency owners and service providers. And there's a lot of other influencers that are like, I want all of your audience to know me. That sounds like a good idea. And so it opens more doors and more conversations. Even if there's 100 or 500 or 1,000 people on that stage, they don't usually ask the size of it. You just say the percentage. And if you have 100 of the qualified right people that they want to get in front of, and 10 or 20 or 30 of them know about them and a handful of them move forward, they get new business. They're still happy. Okay. So, and you always sell to what you have. If you've got 100 or 200 or 500 members in your, hey, listen, we wanted to be different and we want to only have the best in here and keep this highly curated and be high in connection. The world doesn't need another Facebook group with 50,000 people in it where everyone's forgotten. That's what you sell. And people are like, oh yeah, I want to be in the exclusive group, right? And then as you grow, it's like, all right, well, the market said we're valuable for a reason. You sell why you're great, because then that's why you're growing. Okay. Here are the numbers. You can take a screenshot, check these out. This is from one of our pipelines. This is from all my numbers people out there. This is from one of our pipelines that we've been running. You can see in the year of 2022 and through, a good majority of 2023, on average, we were booking calls with hyper qualified people for less than $34 a call. That's crazy. Most people we talk to is like, Chris, I spend $300. I'm spending $400 just to get a qualified call. Not every industry or niche is created equal. However, industry averages $200 to $400. We're spending $34. It's not even close. People should not be skipping over direct message, and putting the systems in place, because the CAC and the LTV are more competitive than anything. So you can see our cost to acquire is about $800, and you can see our conversion rates. So with a 16% response rate, 30% booking rate, 95% show rate, and 27% close rate. Those are reasonable. They're good, but they're not crazy. They're not 50% response rates. They're not 60% close rates. They're just average. But if you do that consistently, you'll grow. All right. And when you have that stage, other top influencers are drawn to you. Growth brings on growth. And so now you start connecting with these other top influencers and sharing audience, and start to have a larger and larger voice in your own market, and it grows from there. So let's talk about DMs. Now that you're getting attention with these other methods, a lot of you that have been following us and been with us for a bit, you've heard us talk through this analogy, but this really creates a lot of aha and epiphany moments for people. Think of the last event you went to. Picture yourself sitting in one of those seats in the upper right-hand corner picture, and then you got your guy, your girl, your leader on stage, hopefully entertaining, hopefully edifying and encouraging and educational, educating, and it's great. But how much connection are you building with those around you and with the speaker? Yeah, virtually none, right? But you can be learning, and there's some value to it. But the main thing is that everyone gathers. It draws everybody in. And the real connection and depth happens in the hallway. It happens on the way to something else, on the way to the restroom, restaurant, in transition, in the hallway. That's where you connect. So when you start to view Facebook groups and content like posts, that's the event. People are gathering, they're liking, they're commenting, they're having their own feelings, thoughts, experiences, and opinions. But when you follow up on the way to their next post or the next group, you're in the hallways of social media, the DMs. This is where depth happens. This is where, business cards are exchanged and calls are booked, and you spend more focused time with each other, and relationship is built. So when you understand the role that DMs play and how to approach people, what to say, when to approach them, the game changes. It becomes really easy, because now you know the rules to the game. So these are the 5 strategies to use to build trust, to build culture, to build brand. And doing all of them is great. We shared some examples, but even if you just did one, and this doesn't, if you're doing the Facebook group, you're doing, podcasts, you don't have to even leave your home. You can do podcasts on your computer, your phone. You don't even need, new tech and tools and all this stuff, just to start getting your voice heard in the market. So you can do everything very reasonable in the beginning and grow from there.